Hallå! Tjena! Welcome to 30 something? 31? 32? Welcome anyway. Hi, I'm Maja. You can find me online as sjomajlin. I'm on Ravelry and YouTube and Instagram. Feel free to follow me or be my friend or subscribe or, you know. Okay, today is Friday, March 20th. It's been a little bit of a crazy day. I had my car at the repair shop today, so I had to go. Yesterday I went up to where my parents live because I was able to borrow their car for today, and I repacked my piano and my gear for doing my gigs, and I just realized, because I had my dictionary right here, that there is a word that I've been thinking about what it is, and I'll better just check it up. Förstärkare, because I have one of those. I have a piano and a bag with songbooks, and then I have and I really don't know what this is. Amplifier, maybe. Yeah, I don't even know. And a microphone, and yeah, I bring a lot of stuff. So I did that yesterday, and then I had to get up super early this morning and leave my car, and then there were some changes in the plan, or the car shop said that they were going to do stuff and then they weren't, and yeah, and then when I got off work at 4, or well, I left at like 4:20 or something, and then I went to pick up my parents, and then the car shop closed at 5, so I need to be there before that to pick up my car and then change the stuff over again to my car and pay them, and so now I'm home. I'm filming a little bit later than I would like to, because I think it will get darker soon. We've had very clear weather for quite a few days in a row, but today it's been super overcast, so it's not as light, and yeah, I really want to record today though, because I'm not sure I will be able to do that tomorrow, and I want to get it up, and so I'm doing it. I have some lights on and hopefully it will be okay. I'm doing the best I can, so it'll have to be what it is. So I'm a little bit stressed. I just came home. I'm making some tea over here, but it's still way too warm for me to drink because I don't like to drink it too warm. And I'm just, you know, I'm a little bit speedy. I don't even know. But other than that, it's been a good week. As I said, we've had really good weather. It's been probably below freezing at night this week as well, but in daytime, when it's been, if you get out of the wind and you sit in the sun, it's been really warm. That also means that pollen is going on. But I've been sitting quite a lot outside in the sun this week as well, knitting and listening to audiobooks and stuff. So it's been really good. I feel as though I haven't got very much knitting done, but I kind of have though, but I don't have anything finished, and I don't have any new projects since last week. I guess that is why it feels as though I haven't really done anything, or I haven't accomplished anything. But yeah, it's good. I did talk to my doctor on Monday. I think I mentioned last week that I had talked to the counselor person, and we agreed that I was doing pretty good, and I talked to my doctor on Monday, and she also agreed that I'm doing pretty good. I am going to keep on taking my meds though for quite some time, and that feels really good. I don't want to I don't want to take meds. I prefer to not have to, but I feel as though it's worth it. And for those of you who might be new, ish to this little podcast. In November I was on sick leave for the whole month because of depression and just stress and anxiety, and then I started taking some antidepressants. Pollen, as I've said, and the thing is, I'm really passionate about the fact that, or this is gonna sound weird, I'm not passionate about the fact that mental health issues are such a taboo. But I think I'm passionate about talking. I think we really need to be able to talk about this stuff. And the thing is that, I mean, I really believe that, but it's still hard when it comes to me. It's okay for everyone else, but it's not okay for me. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who feels like that. So that's why I really want to talk about this stuff, because I think it's very important. So it's not in any way, feel bad for me, boo. It's not that at all. It's just that I think that it's very important to be able to talk about this. We need to break that taboo. And I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm starting with me. I'm trying to be the change I want to see. So, I mean, it's not something to just casually mention, but I think that we need to do that to reach the next level. Yeah. On to the knitting. As I said, I haven't finished anything this week, other than a half object. I had started a mitten last week. I finished it. This is the Gudrun mitten pattern, available in Swedish and English, paid for pattern through Ravelry. With this, I haven't woven in the ends yet, and it has not been blocked. This is stranded colorwork, so it will need a good soak and block to relax the stitches and even it out, or relax the floats. But I'm very happy with it so far. So I've done this, or I finished this, and I've started this, and I am about as far on this left mitten as I was on the right mitten last week. So I've pretty much done a mitten this week. So I started this. It's coming along, as you can see, but I have some more work to do. I'm using Drops Fable, which is a sock yarn, in, well, you can see a grey and a mustardy yellow color. I'm using size 2mm needles, DPNs, because I like DPNs. And it is coming along. But as I mentioned last time, I'm pretty sure, it's a charted colorwork, chart, which is, it's easy to read. It's not anything difficult, but you need to be pretty focused on it. And when I'm sitting out in the sun, or if I'm watching something interesting that I want to be able to watch, that is not my go-to knitting, because it's not hard, but it takes some focus. So that's why I guess I haven't done so much on it. And I am, spilling some tea. I'm just lifting my tea out of the water. So I'm working on that, and a half object is what I've got. And it's coming along. And I said what the yarn was, yes. And then I'm working on a sock that I just cast on last week before, did I record last Friday or did I record last Saturday? I think Friday. And then I had cast this on Thursday evening, because I remember that I had cast it on the evening before. So this is a sock, knit toe up, with this waffle pattern, or texture maybe. That I'm knitting out of my handspun. Some Leicester, close to me bread, Leicester, that I spun this fall on some drop spindles. And I've divided it into 2 cakes, so this is the one that I haven't started yet, and this is what I have left on the one that I have started. So I did knit the foot, and then I did a sweet tomato heel, because I wanted to try something new. I never tried that before, so I did this yesterday. It was easy to understand what to do, and it turned out, it looks pretty bulky. Let me see if I can pop it onto. And these socks are a bit big. They are not very snug on me. They are for me. They're not very snug, but I think that's okay. So it looks a bit bulky, but it actually fits the heel very well. So what you do with the sweet tomato heel is that you make it in sections. And I've realized that maybe I should have made the last section a bit shorter. But I'm not going to do it back. Because I mentioned last time I'm just going to have these like around the house, or even like bed socks. So I'm not bothered by that. But yeah, so I've done the sweet tomato heel. You can almost see the different sections, like so. And one thing, so I just started, this is the back, so I just started making the pattern in the back as well. And one thing that I did do, I put this in here, because that was the row that I started the heel on. So I want to be able to do the same on the second sock. So what happened was, because you knit this heel on 2/3 of the stitches, and I had 60 stitches, so I made it on 40. And I had some, I'm magic looping this, which is not my preferred method, but I didn't have any more, so this is a size 2mm needle, an Addy premium needle. My DPNs, my 2mm DPNs was occupied, so I just decided to do this with my magic loop. So that is so weird. They don't usually make that much noise, my neighbors, but when I'm recording they do. Yeah. So I had 30 stitches on each side, so I needed to pick up 5 stitches on each side to make the heel. And for the foot I made this pattern or texture for just the front 30 stitches. So what happened was I had to pick up, and I don't know how well you can see it right here. I picked 5 stitches on each side from the front to make this heel, and then I started the pattern again after the heel. So it's, you can see there is a ridge going up there, and then it's flat for the heel, and then it starts again over there. So it's just a little bit weird, but not enough that I'm ripping it out or anything. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'm not super happy with it, but it doesn't bother me. Because I was trying just to think, you know, how do I do this in pattern for those stitches, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I'm sure you can do it somehow, but, or that you can make it, you know, work somehow. But I didn't, and I'm fine with that. I'm not bothered. So I'm obviously knitting these toe up just to be able to do them as long as possible with the yarn that I've got, because I want to be able to use as much of it as possible without having to be worried about will it last. So that is, I mean, I've done half a sock, I guess, since I started, or I turned the heel. I haven't actually weighed this, so I don't know how much it is left, if it's about half. The yarn, because that would mean it would be pretty much the same length for the leg, but it doesn't really matter because I'm just gonna knit it and it's gonna be good. And then I'm gonna do the second one, but I'm not that far yet. But I'm really liking working with this yarn. It's very fatty, or lanolin-y. So I like the feel of it very much. And then I am working on this shawl, or almost a stole. Is it pronounced stole? I think it is. That I showed you the wrong way last time. I'm gonna show you it the right way this time. So it's a lace pattern on size 5mm needles, I think. I was unsure last time and I haven't actually looked it up. Either 5mm or 5.5mm. So it's a larger gauge yarn or project. So it's coming along. I've done some more repeats. It's well, my plan is to make it this big. I'm gonna use up all the yarn. And the yarn is a Gotland yarn that I got on Gotland this summer. It's a 2-ply wool, natural, what do you say, undyed, a bit rustic, maybe not next to skin for anyone, soft, but as I've mentioned last time, this is gonna be like a layering to keep me warm piece, so it doesn't bother me that it's a bit scratchy. My plan is to keep this in my office when it's done, because my office is freezing. But I have quite a lot of work still to do on this, and I really enjoy this. It's a simple lace pattern and lace repeat that is easily memorized. It's just... You can say that it's 2 rows, you could say that it's 4 rows, and you can say that it's 8 rows. So in between there is a purlback row. So that brings us down to... So the repeat is 4 rows, 8 rows long, but the purl rows are just purlback rows. And I have one... well, in the right side I have 1 purl stitch in between, so that is a knit stitch in the purlback row. So there are 4 pattern rows, but those are 2 of the same plus 2 of the same. And those are pretty much the same, but they... so you can... Oh, sorry. So you can see that it's... Well, here is the yarn overs, and here are some gathers, or yeah. And then over here it's the other way around, so you just, you know, move the pattern pretty much. So it's very easily memorized. I took this lace chart from a pair of socks, but I know there are a lot of other very similar lace charts, because it's very... I don't know the word. It's simple. It's sort of classic, I guess. So I am working on that, and I like it. And I've been keeping this. I don't really have a lot of project bags, and I don't really use project bags, because at home I use these that are from IKEA, that I like to keep like my projects in. And when you don't use them, you can squish them together so that they don't take up very much space if you keep them like this. And then you can just pop them open and put your projects in. And I really like them. But I do have some project bags that I use sometimes, and this is one bag that I got that actually should have been larger. Which starts to be true, because this is getting big in here. Oh! The spring itches. But it's okay, because I can keep it in something else soon if I need to bring it with me. And then, let me just work with my tea over here. I did receive some mail this week, some post, a package in the post. In the 11th episode of the Sword of a Knitter, Sword of a Knitter, not Sort of a Knitter, but Sword of a Knitter podcast, who is Josh, who is amazing, go watch him. For his 111th episode, he had a huge prize drawing, and I won a prize. And it arrived in my mailbox or my post box this week. So did you hear that? That was my jaw. That was weird. I did post a picture of this to Instagram, so you might have seen it. Other than that, I've pretty much just kept it so that I can show you guys. So what I got was, and I have this old basket, or, well, it's a basket bag that I think is very charming. And it's a bit creaking, so I wanted to... It's a bit creaky. So I wanted to show you what it was. So what I got from Josh was 2 samples of tea that I haven't tried yet because I wanted to show you. And I really like tea, so I'm happy about that. And then I got a signed idol picture. Do you even say that? With a personal note in the back. And yeah, I might as well mention, I suppose, Josh is also the designer behind Geometrix Designs. Other than having a great podcast. And then I got this. I believe Josh called it a shawl kit in his prize drawing giveaway. And my plan is to make some sort of shawl of it as well. And I am sorry for the crinkling. I have not decided what to make it. I'm saying N. That is the Swedish word for yet. It was at least the second time I've said it. I haven't decided what shawl to make yet, but I am thinking that I will make a shawl out of these beauties. I think that the colors that I see are pretty true to nature. They are a little bit washed out. This is... I might as well tell you what it is, right? This is Sun Valley Fibers. And it's a 100% superwash merino single ply. And I don't know where I just looked. Maybe I did seem all out of focus, because I pretty much was. 100% superwash merino single ply. And it's 400 yards per skein. And I do believe that this is the colorway Robust. And it is just a tiny little bit washed out on screen. It looks almost a little bit rusty. It's very like burgundy, and it has depth, and it's amazing. And this is a grey. It's the same yarn. The colorway is Smoke Signals. It's a pretty cold grey, I would say, but not really bluish grey. It looks a bit bluish on my screen over there. Because I have a really bright lamp up ahead, because I'm afraid you won't see anything otherwise. So it washes out a little bit. And then this is the same yarn again, and it's called, the colorway is Refreshing. And it might be a little bit greener or more turquoise than what you see. It looks mostly just blue on the screen. So this is, well, this is probably a color combination that I wouldn't have picked myself, but I really like it. What just happened? I think I need to pause and make something with the battery because the screen just happened. So, pause. And I'm back. Sorry about that. And I don't really know what I just said, but the screen just blacked out and it said battery, battery. So I panicked a little bit, but I think it was still recording, so I think I didn't miss. I don't think anything that I said was cut out. I'm sorry. I believe what I was saying before that was that this is not a color combination that I might have picked myself, but I really, really like it. I really like it. And as I said, I'm thinking that I will make a shawl out of it, but I haven't decided what shawl. And I was looking through Josh's Geometrix Designs patterns, because he has a lot of beautiful shawls. Because I was thinking that it would be fun to do something, one of his patterns with this yarn. But on the other hand, there are some other shawls that I've been thinking about making. So I'm not sure. If you do have a good suggestion, please share it, because maybe I just need, you know, a push to be able to decide. But these yarns are just gorgeous, and I'm very, very happy. So thank you very much, Josh. Thank you very much, Josh, for those. And that was the prize that I received. Yes, there were some questions that I got, and I didn't memorize them because, as I've said, I just came home, sat down to record, so I haven't memorized these questions. But I got them on YouTube, and I said that I would answer them. One of the questions was, what tea do you drink? What I'm drinking right now. You've noticed that I've been drinking tea in almost all of my podcasts, because tea is something that I really, really like. And I haven't talked about it. The main reason for that is because I have a lot of teas, and I get something that I think smells nice, or the idea of it sounds nice, and then I pour it into a jar to keep the aroma. And then I'm thinking, you know, I will remember what this is, but then I don't actually remember it. But I smelled it and I'm like, oh, I'm in the mood for this, and I don't really know what it is. So I've been thinking, because I kind of like when other podcasters talk about what they're drinking. So I sort of wanted to do that, and then I realized, but I don't know what to talk about, because I don't know what tea it is. So I can't really tell you what it is. Allergies. I can, though, talk about what I like. I do prefer green teas. I do drink black teas as well, and white teas. I haven't tried yellow, but I do not like rooibos, which is considered to be a tea. And I enjoyed some herbal teas, but not as much. Green is my preferred tea, and I prefer like fruity and sort of fresh flavors rather than sweet and creamy. And I prefer having just the tea, not any sugar or honey or milk or lemon or anything, just water and tea leaves. This specific tea that I'm drinking today is, it has a slight licorice taste to it. And what I usually have are, I'm sure there are some artificial flavor or flavor enhancer or whatever in it, I'm sure. But I like to have, you know, a little higher quality tea that have more of a natural taste or flavor to them. Because some teas are just, well, they just taste like perfume. So I do believe that this is not really like a chemical licorice, but some sort of plant. Somehow. So that is what I'm having today. But I'm not, there are teas that I prefer over others, but if there are, a lot of the times I will have a tea that I don't really like rather than not having tea. Because sometimes that is a decision you have to make. And she also asks if I drink it hot or cold. I prefer drinking it hot. Sometimes in the summer I will make tea. I don't really like, iced tea, but sometimes I will make tea and ice it myself. But I don't really like it. And I don't really mind drinking hot tea when it's warm either. And well, up here in Sweden, even though we have, warm summer weather, but it's not, it's for a pretty short while, and we usually don't have like extreme heat. So it's not, it's not that bad. I'm thinking that people who live, well, further south in warmer climates will be more, might prefer to have more cold beverages. But I prefer my tea hot. And then she also asks what audio knitting podcasts I listen to. Because I mentioned last time that some of my favorite things were audiobooks and audio podcasts. And then there are some good. So I was thinking, because there are a lot of like podcast apps to your smartphone where you can find them. Whoops. So I was thinking I might as well just, read the ones, or what they are called, the ones that I'm listening to. So there is a Swedish one that is called Bara en till, which is in Swedish, so it might not be that interesting. And then there is the cognitive, but it's spelled cognitive podcasts. It's she's a psychologist or psychiatrist, and she talks about knitting and then some psychology, and it's very interesting. Cognitive with knit podcast. And then there is the Commuter Knitter podcast that I listen to. Sometimes she podcasts from home, but a lot of times she will podcast while she's driving to or from work. So she talks about her knitting, and usually she's talking while she's driving, which means she is not going, very much into depth, because she don't have, any notes or anything, but she's talking about the stuff that she remembers, which sometimes it's a bit deeper. But that is more of a podcast that I'd like to have on or listen to when I'm doing stuff, and I'm sorry, I don't mean this to be rude or anything, but that is not a podcast that I find that I really need to be focused on while listening to, but I like to have it on anyway. And then I listen to the Knit Cafe, which is also, well, it's good. They talk about knitting, and it's fairly, like the cognitive podcast, she has, that angle to it. Knit Cafe doesn't really have an angle. She's talking about knitting, and it's good. And then there is the Knitmore Girls, which is like the I don't know if it's the biggest, but one of them, I presume, that is a big word. They are multi-generational, so they are mother-daughter podcast, and there is also a, granddaughter, who, she's not really part of the recording, but she is wearing a lot of hand knits, and it's about her as well. So they are multi-generational, and they are very good, very professional, and very interesting. And then I listen to the Never Not Knitting podcast, who is, Elena Jacos, right? She's the one who did the botanical knits patterns. I'm pretty sure. Never Not Knitting is the designer behind botanical knits. Or am I just making this? No, I'm pretty sure. Now I'm insecure just because I started to forget about her name. I might be wrong, but I think it's like that. She also talks about knitting, and she usually includes some other person who shares a story, like a knitting related story from their life. So it's you might not learn a lot, but it will be entertaining, and it's really good. And then there is a Swedish one that is called Rätt Avigt, and then there is another Swedish one that is Stickpodden. They are good. And then I listen to the Savvy Girls podcast. I would say that is a knitting and travel podcast. There are two sisters. One of them is a traveling opera singer, and she records a lot when she's on the road, and she talks about knitting and her travels, and it's good. And then I do listen to the Twinset Designs, who are, well, a twinset, who talk about their knitting and, well, their life and design. They do some designing and a lot of spinning, and they go into a little bit more depth, I would say. Those are the ones that I currently subscribe to. There are a lot of other ones, and I've been subscribing to more that are good, but I felt that I didn't really have time, so I had to pick a few that I, could take the time for, which sounds a bit awful, but none of us have all the time in the world. But if you are new to audio podcasts, there are good apps that you can download to your smartphone and subscribe, and then you can search, and then if you start to subscribe to a few knitting podcasts, I guess most of the apps will suggest other, you might like these. So even if you do, because I did that, I found some podcasts that I was like, oh, well, maybe this is not exactly what I was looking for, but I'll keep it on the list for a while so that the app will recognize that this is what I like, and then it will suggest other ones that might be more my cup of tea. So try that, and then you can search, but sometimes you need to be really, really spot on in your search, so it can be a bit difficult to find, but give it a chance. And obviously there are, well, the same as the video podcasts, right? Some are a bit more like educational, or they go into more depth, or they are a bit, well, I don't want to say more serious, but they are, well, that side. And then there are the other ones that are just like, rambling and talking and maybe a little bit more like me. And then there are some that are even more crazy. That is rather words. That is more entertaining than educational. And that is fine. And my nose is so itchy. And the same with a lot of the audio podcasts, that there are both like the educational ones and the entertaining ones, and then all in between. And I do believe that was all the questions you had. And I've made a point of not naming names when someone asks the question. And that is, well, the main reason is that I will forget someone's name if I try to, and I will say it wrong, I will, And then there is also the fact that someone might want to be anonymous, even though it's probably not exactly... you might not ask like sensitive questions, but yeah, I'm not gonna name names, so I hope that is fine. I also want to mention, I found, and I'm just trying to think now, because I did mention junk yarn a couple of episodes back, right? And after that it's 2 podcasts, I believe, that I found, and that I really like and that I want to recommend to you. One of them is Sjomajlin, which you might have heard of from some other podcasts. He is a guy living in London. He uploaded his second episode yesterday, 2 days ago, well, this week. So it's a new podcast. So it's Sjomajlin, like mathematician, but sock. And he's, well, obviously a guy knitter and also designer. And he, well, I think most of us would agree that, you know, it's really not a like anyone could be a knitter and anyone could wear any design. But the thing his designing is a bit more masculine. And the episodes he has put up are a bit longer, but he is really interesting to listen to, and he is good. Check him out. And then I also found Mandarin's podcast, and I believe her username on YouTube is like Mandarin but with a space, so it's Mandareen. Yeah. So she is a French lady who lives in Latvia at the moment. But she speaks English. So you don't need to know French, because I don't. I actually do know a little bit of Latvian, because I did study Latvian for a while. But I can't speak and I can't understand, but I know some words. But she speaks English. And I've mentioned before that I think it's just so fascinating to learn about like the culture and all the stuff around knitting and knitters. So for a French lady in Latvia, I mean, that is very, very interesting, and she makes beautiful things, and yeah, I like her. I think she has 5 or 6 episodes up, and I think she started in November or October, so she had a long-ish break like over Christmas, and she's picked it up again, I'm pretty sure. So she's also, I'm sorry if you can hear my stomach. As I said, I just got home from work, so I need to eat something. Well, she's also pretty new to podcasting, but I think she is really adorable as well. So check them out if you wish to. But they are, maybe I didn't say that, they are video podcasts on YouTube, so they are not audio podcasts, as the ones that I read up before. Yes. Okay. Some of my favorite stuff, because that always makes me so glad and happy when other people mention. And one of my favorite things is definitely, and I don't want to use the word daffodils, because there is another word that I prefer. Narcissus. I love narcissus so much. And we are getting them here now. You can buy them in stores, and I just love them, and they smell deliciously. And there are other ones that are not, well, there are more leaves in them, and I just love them. And they also make me think of Narcissa, who in the Harry Potter books, who is one of my favorite characters. I can't help love her. And I don't want to spoil anything for you who might not have caught up with the Harry Potter amazingness. But Narcissa Malfoy, she happens to murder a few times. Grammar check. And the thing is, I can sort of, almost, no, I can't forgive her for it, but I can sort of still love her, despite one of them. But the other one I really can't. You might know what I'm talking about if you've seen it or read the books. But I still love her, and I'm a bit ashamed, but she is awesome. But what she did was unforgivable. but she's still awesome. So I mean, I like the flower separately from her, but I also like that connection because their names are sort of the same. So that is definitely one of my favorite things this week. Yeah, I think that is all I've got for you today. Was there anything else I was going to mention, like not net related or favorite stuff related? No, I don't think so. I really need to make some food. But I think that the light is okay, right? It's not awesome, but it's okay. It'll have to do. Yeah, so, well, anyway, as I've said, sjomajlin, Instagram, Ravelry, YouTube. Follow, like, befriend, subscribe. Do it if you want to. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. Be careful with the sun now that it's starting to come. And all of that stuff. And I will talk to you later. Bye.